What's going on, everybody? Coverkillernation here. Chasms by LYCUS. Funeral doom metal, a subgenre that some may claim I don't talk about enough on this channel, but if you think about 2015, we had both releases from Leviathan and Ahab that made it not only to the top 50 albums of the year list, but also actually did fairly well. So what does Chasms have to offer? This is an Oakland, California-based funeral doom product. And a couple years ago with their opening album, their debut, Tempest, they tempted fate quite literally with a 20-minute long song on a 3-track album. And it was one that actually moved a lot of people and showed that this band had what some people would call the chops. So Chasms is a 4-track affair. This is one that expands the track count by 1. We don't have a 20-minute long track on this disc. Instead, we have 2 that eclipse the 12-minute mark, another that's near 11, and one, the shorty of the bunch, if you really want to call it, that is about 7.5 minutes. And this is funeral doom that takes on a couple of different ideals and really executes some of those ideologies of the subgenre with some very nice moments. And we're going to get to some specifics here in just a moment. But the first thing that I have to really comment regarding this release is the atmosphere. Now, to create the proper atmosphere really for a funeral doom disc, you do have to inflict a little bit of desolation. You have to give it a little bit of charm. And this band's able to do that immediately and embrace sort of that inner chaos right whenever Solar Chamber, the very first track, begins. It's something where it's just the tone that you hear that has a certain discord to it, while at the same time also sort of just sounding like you're entering into a sort of hellscape. So Solar Chamber is able to inflict that opening wound very nicely and gets you sort of in that spirit and in that mood. And then the deep, raspy vocals that you hear, the growls that are kind of coming from the bows of the ship, only serve to sort of excite that process and make it even more dense and give it even more of that characteristic. Chasms is a song that sort of showcases LYCUS's ability to meander a little bit and showcase that there are plenty of sides to this band, and they're not always necessarily ones that are the slow and brooding variety. This probably features one of their more aggressive or faster passages throughout Chasms. So the fact that it's the title track itself showcases its importance, its center point status, even though it's a center point status on an album with only 4 tracks. This 13-minute long bomb is one that certainly seems to display why LYCUS has been getting a lot of press, not only for Chasms, but for their other work, for Tempest, for their demos, because it does showcase their ability to combine the dark and the desolate, but not feel like they are tethered to just that one line. And then you have Mirage, track number 3. Mirage is a track that begins with an opening that sounds like it could be right out of a post-rock track, almost like you're going back to listening to old songs from, say, Isis or Pelican, but then quickly descends into the same mastery that LYCUS had delivered within the past 2 songs. Now, this being the shortest track, you would figure, has a lot to do with what's coming next, and you're absolutely right. Mirage does a beautiful job in sort of setting up the finale on this 4-track album, which is Obsidian Eyes. This is probably what I would consider to be my highlight of this disc, and I always love and pay special attention to final tracks, considering it typically showcases the band trying to do one of 2 things, which is either end on a really high note and deliver a solid product from open to close, either that or do things a little bit differently and try to explore some new territory that they could further expand on. In this case, Obsidian Eyes does something that any funeral doom band should really sort of study up on, and that's transition points. Transition points on this song that shift the movement from one part to the next are very well executed. Each one of them, whenever it comes, hits you with a certain element of punch. It delivers those blows. It's almost like going back to playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, where you have to set up some of the jabs before hitting him with your special move. And that's exactly what LYCUS kind of does with Obsidian Eyes. They hit you with a couple of jabs, they hit you with a special move, they knock you down, and then they go right back to the jabs to set it up all over again. And whenever they hit you with that special move once again, it delivers that same element of punch. It gives you that same feeling of, holy shit. It knocks you on your ass. It really does. And it gives you a feeling that LYCUS is something special. I can compare listening to this album for some newcomers to, funeral doom metal as to the first time I ever listened to a band like Forgotten Tomb, either that or a band of that variety. Something that was a bit out of my element at the time whenever I checked out Songs to Leave back in the early part of the 2000s. It's just something that was completely different for me, and I think I'm kind of attached to the band and hate to see them fail based around the fact that they were my first true experience with it. LYCUS is a band that's still young enough where they're going to be going through growth. They're going to be going through a lot of different shifts in their sound, but hopefully will continue to deliver top-notch product similar to what we have here on Chasms, because Chasms is very well executed. The flow on this disc makes it an easy funeral doom album to pick up and listen to from inception to destruction, and it is also benefited by the fact that these guys just know how to produce this sound. It isn't as though they're just attempting this on a Sunday night because they're bored. This is instead something that sounds like it's their calling. 88 out of 100 for this disc. Very solidly done, well produced, exceptionally delivered. And this is definitely an album to scope out. On a week where many people may claim that there wasn't much coming out, which, by the way, I'll expose how wrong you are in the next video, because we're going to do like 4 album reviews in one. This is definitely a highlight. This is an album that delivers, but I want to know what you think. There is a stream of this disc that's going on that I will leave in the description box below for you guys to check out LYCUS for yourselves. That guy's speeding off to do exactly that because I know that he's excited. Yeah, trust me. It's not just because he's got a busted-ass truck. Fucking muffler fuck. But anyway, there is a link down there so you can check out the stream and scope out the band for yourself. I've been posting about this band a little bit over on the Facebook group, which if you're not a part of, you should be. There's a link in the description box for that as well. And scope this band out. They're really, really solid. And they're one that easily you can pass up on because you don't recognize the name. But now not only should you recognize the name, but now you should want to see the name, want to see new releases from this band. Listen to something new each and every day. That is my reminder for you tonight. That is my advice to you throughout life. Listen to something brand new every day, and today make that something new. This band, LYCUS, with their album Chasms. Coverkillernation. I'll talk to you later.